to talk a few minutes about the Lyra benefits. So my name is Jody Hipke. I work with the MACRC team here at Lyra. I'm the customer success manager, and I work closely with the team to make sure that we provide the programs and services and have a high level of engagement, and really to keep your population aware of what the benefit is and how it works for everyone. So I work very closely with Chris and team. And then, like I said, Nate is also on the phone too. He works very closely with the team to get everything implemented and get everything set up for the program so you can start accessing it. So let's talk a little bit about why mental health. So a couple of things that I would start off with is, and you probably are already very familiar with this, if you've ever had any, like a loved one who's ever needed mental health, you know that the healthcare system is, frankly, it's broken. It's a struggle to get care. It's a struggle to get good care. So what the studies have shown is that 1 in 5 adults experience a mental illness. 56% of adults with a mental illness don't receive treatment at all. And 72% of health plan providers use treatments that aren't effective. So not only is it difficult to navigate the system, but once you're in, you may not be getting the most effective treatment. Then to bring this down one step even closer to home is that the CDC said that the construction industry has the highest suicide rate of all industries. 83% of construction workers have experienced a mental health issue. I think that those numbers are staggering. They're daunting. And this is the very reason that MACRC wanted to provide benefits for you all to help address the needs that are very prevalent and present. So let's talk a little bit about who can use Lyra. So as a covered member or retiree, there's no cost to you, your spouse, or your dependents for up to 12 sessions per year with a Lyra therapist or coach. So this program started January 1st. So you have those 12 sessions throughout the entire calendar year. And then next calendar year, it'll reset. Excuse me. So starting January 1 of next year, you'll have those new 12 sessions. It's really important that we emphasize that these benefits really are for every member of your family. So as young as 2 years old, to your teenager, to you as the adult, for you as couples. One thing I'll say is if you are in couples therapy, like I mentioned, you have 12 sessions. That would be 12 sessions for each person. So if you're in therapy together, that would be the 24 sessions total. It looks like I do see a raised hand. So if you want to come off of mute, feel free to, or otherwise you can put the question in chat. Or maybe that was a slip of a finger and accidentally pressed the raised hand. So if you do have a question, I'm happy to answer and feel free to come back to that. So I think the Lyra benefits are very generous that MACRC is providing for you all. Like I said, the 12 sessions per family member. So let's talk a little bit more in a deeper level of what that means and how you can access care. Like I said, if you are in the eligible and enrolled in the benefits, that you have the 12 coaching sessions all provided to you at no cost. But there may be a situation where you want to continue care. You still have the issue that you're working through. Well, starting this Tuesday, March 1st, we'll be fully integrated with the health plan. So what that means is you can continue with your therapist for your Lyra benefits past those initial 12 sessions. And really that what happens is that it becomes part of the BC Blue Cross Blue Shield Illinois network directly at the in-network rates. So of course it's subject to deductible and co-insurance rules, but the nice thing is you've got that continuity of care that MACRC is providing for you all. So the other thing that I'd mentioned too is that we also have medication management support. So that will be effective on Tuesday as well. So if you do need any help with your medication, or if you feel like you need medication, or if you feel like maybe the medication you're on isn't working, we can certainly help provide those services for you again starting this Tuesday. So let me give you a quick overview of how this works. Now, again, this is a very quick overview. We're going to go into each of these details in further slides. So in order to get started, you would go to the website carpenterbenefits.lyrahealth.com and create an account to get started with searching for care. You can always call our care team. And I think this is really important, especially if you ever have a situation that's really urgent, or you're experiencing any severe anxiety, depression, or if you're having any suicidal thoughts, please, please, please call the Lyra care team. They're available 24/7, 365. Once you get into the website and you start creating your account, you're going to share what you're experiencing with a quick questionnaire. Lyra will then serve up for you providers based on your needs and your personal preferences. You'll get to choose from a list. And again, I'll show you that here in a few minutes. And then really you can connect with that provider, honestly, in less than a week's time. I think that's one of the huge benefits of working with the Lyra network is on average, people from the time they start searching for care to actually get to see their provider, it's an average of 5 days. Whereas if you look at the industry, when without the Lyra benefit, it can be up to 21 days before you can get care. So I'm really excited that we have that network that can be able to get you seen quicker. I want to take a minute just to talk a little bit closer to home about some examples of what it would look like to actually get care through Lyra. So 2 examples that, and again, these are very fictitious. They may feel a little bit personal or close to home, but that is totally coincidental. The first person we have here is Joe. He's 39 years old. He's a journeyman. He's married and he has 2 young kids. His mom recently moved in with him. She has some serious health issues and really it's not safe for her to live at home by herself. So now Joe has his wife, his 2 young kids, and his mom all living in the same house. So it's stressful. It's putting a strain on their marriage. Joe's trying to be supportive and hold it all together, but he feels like he's failing. He's not sleeping well. He feels like he's on edge almost all the time. He wants to get back on track, prioritize responsibilities, and really manage that stress that he has in his life. Sometimes stress is unavoidable, right? In this situation, this is good for his mom to live with them, but it's stressful. So it's a matter of how do we deal with that stress and how do we manage that stress? So he wants to talk with a provider in a way that works for him, doesn't interfere with his family time because that's so important to have that quality time. So he was able to connect with a Lyra coach on his lunch hour, in his truck, and on the job site. So that's one example of how somebody would be able to utilize the Lyra benefit and deal with what they're working through. There are some situations that are a little bit more severe. Now we've got George here. He's 63 and he's a retired carpenter. Unfortunately, George recently lost his wife unexpectedly in an accident. So he had, as you can imagine, working all the way through his whole adult life, super excited about retirement to spend time with his wife, and she passes away. George falls into a deep depression. He's not returned any of his friends or family's phone calls. He frankly has stopped doing any activities that he used to enjoy, like playing poker and volunteering with his men's group. So he's really gone internal and is not really reaching out to others. He feels lost and hopeless and is really struggling to open up with anyone about a situation. Then George's children are seeing this and recognizing it, and they urge him to see a therapist, and he finally agrees. And he finds a Lyra therapist to help him get back on track. So this is a very serious situation, again, of severe depression, but this shows how somebody could come to Lyra and the benefits that they can provide. So like I said, these are just a few examples of what people can come to Lyra to utilize. So like we've talked about, everyday life stressors, severe depression, things like work stress and burnout, relationship challenges, et cetera. So there's a lot of different reasons why people will come to Lyra. One of the things that I want to talk about just for a minute here is our network provider, or provider network, excuse me, that I really want you to understand through this slide. Number one, we have over 6,000 providers. So I really wanted to highlight that because not only is there going to be a lot of folks that you can see over video, you can see in person, but with having 6,000 providers, that's where we can have people being seen within that 5-day window on average. Number two, all of our providers are vetted based on their experience, effectiveness, and what most importantly is being practicing evidence-based practices. So what does that mean? Basically, what that means is evidence-based treatments are proven through research to be effective to get people to feel better, faster, and improve their symptoms because it's based on practicing and building skills. So the provider is going to work with you, the member, to help understand what your symptoms are. From there, they're going to prescribe basically a program and skills for you to practice on your own throughout the week. So that way, every time that you meet with that provider again, you've been practicing on what you've been working to try to reduce your symptoms. And that way, all that practice is helping you to get better faster. So we feel really strongly that evidence-based treatments are really important. It's a huge part of our program. And the third thing that I want you to understand here is that we provide culturally responsive care. So what that means here is that we want people to feel seen and heard. So we've got providers, as you can even just see from this quick picture of these different folks, they vary based on gender, race, ethnicity, and we want you to, and a variety of different topics they specialize in. So we want you to come to Lyra and be able to feel like you can see a provider that really sees you and hears you. One question that you might be thinking is, okay, but I'm already seeing a provider. What does that mean for me? Okay, great. Are you happy with your provider? Awesome. You don't need to make any changes. One thing you might want to ask yourself, though, is your current provider in the Blue Cross network? If they are, great. Make sure that they know to bill Blue Cross's services so you get discounted in-network discounted rates. If they're not in the network, let them know that they can look at applying and joining the Lyra network. So that's something that you can consider. There's more information on the website about that if you wanted to pursue that route. If you are not satisfied with your current provider, maybe give Lyra a try. Maybe it's been something that you've been seeing this provider for a really long time and really aren't seeing any of the symptom reduction. Give us a try. I'm going to actually take a quick second to stop here before we dig into how to access care and see if there are any questions. Again, let me know if there's anything in the chat. I haven't seen any questions come through, but I thought, like I said, before we really dig into the rest of the section on how-tos, any questions so far? Okay, it sounds like everybody's just ready to figure out how to access Lyra. All right, so there's a couple of steps here to get care. Number one, you get started, share what you're experiencing, view the available care options, choose your provider, and easily schedule your appointment. So let's walk through each one of these. So getting started with Lyra only takes 5 minutes. Like I mentioned, you go to the website, carpenterbenefits.lyrahealth.com. And then you're going to go through here and set up your account. So use your, so if you are the covered member, you're going to create your account using your first and last name, date of birth, and create your own password. If you are a spouse or an adult dependent, you'll need to also know the member's first name, last name, and date of birth, but you are creating your account for yourself, okay? And then lastly, you might be thinking about, well, what happens if I want to find care for my child? So you're going to create an account for yourself. So again, in here, same situation, you're going to use your first name, last name, and your date of birth. But once you go to the Find Care button, and I'll show you this on the next screen here, there's a Find My Child Care link. And so you're going to be finding care on the child's behalf. Any questions on that part? Again, feel free to throw the questions in the chat, or if you can come off of mute, feel free to do so. Again, that chat feature is on the bottom of your screen usually. It looks like a little communication bubble. So once you've created your account, you're going to come into the site and then you're going to see what we call our home base page. This is where you can find different resources. You're going to see a reference to Lyra Essentials, which we'll go through in a minute. As I mentioned, this Get Started button. So if you were to try to find or needed care for your child, this is Get Started, or right next to it says Find My Child Care. This is the little link that you would select to find your child care. All right, like I mentioned, there's going to be a share what your child, or your child is experiencing. So through here, you're going to go through this assessment. And I would strongly encourage you to answer as honestly, as much as it may be difficult, answer as honestly as possible, because this is what's going to help us find the best care that's best suited for you. From there, we're going to take that assessment and you're going to be able to see your available options. And again, this is based on what you've said and what we think is going to be best for you. So you'll be able to see the options here. If you are scrolling through these options, you can always scroll to the bottom. There's a link that says see more options. So if you ever like, oh, it's telling me I'm in coaching, but I really want to have therapy, you can go through there and find your options. If for some reason you get to this page and it's confusing or you don't understand, or you really want to just talk to somebody, call our care team. Our care team is there to help assist and get you the care that you need. If you are selecting the therapy or the coach, you're going to get served up those that are available for you. So there's going to be a primary picture. And this is one thing that I think is so nice, is that not only is it just a list of names and maybe phone numbers, but you're not only going to see the provider's face, but then you're going to get a bit of a bio on them. So if there's a subject that you really want to focus on, this is the opportunity where you can find somebody who has a specialty of something that you really want to talk through. So you're going to find a provider that you think is going to be a great match for you, and you're going to get to see their connected calendar. So you can actually go through and say, I want the appointment on July 18th, 7 a.m. It's just that easy. Any questions before I jump through the next portion when we start to talk about what the programs are as well? Looks like we do have two couple questions that just came through. One of them came to me privately, and the question is, if you are uncomfortable with technology or just are uncomfortable moving through a web platform, what can you do? Call the care team. Absolutely, call the care team. There's phone numbers, and at the very last slide, I'll put that up so you can either write it down or we'll talk that through as well. But call the care team. We are here to assist you again, 24/7, 365. And we can help walk you through based on what the symptoms you're experiencing, and we can find a provider for you. And then another question that came in is, when you choose a provider, will you be able to see right away if telehealth is available? Yes, you can see based on whether it's going to be an in-person or over video session. Great questions. So let's talk a little bit about what the programs are that are available for you. I think it's really important that everybody understands too, everyone is on a mental health journey. There's a full spectrum, whether you feel like you are doing really well and you've got great balance and everything is, you feel like you have really good control over your emotions and your mental state, all the way up through some very severe, complex needs. There is a full spectrum here. So to me, I think that it's great that Lyra has a program and an option for everybody that is on that spectrum. And as you know, we never just stay put, right? So you might be doing okay today, but something hits you next week. I hope it doesn't, but something hits you next week where you say, I need help. I need more care and more, more support. So let's talk about these different options. The first one is Lyra Essentials. I mentioned that earlier. That's going to be on the home base page. You're going to see that right away as a reference. So you can access this whether it's on the platform or you can download our app to access the Lyra Essentials tools. And really what this is a mental health offering to access rich library of research-based self-care resources. So if you think about needing help and your topic is you want to learn more about how to have healthy sleep, or you have questions about parenting, or you're having just everyday stressors and you want to figure out how to have healthy balance, this is a great place to go to get the resources to do that. There's guided meditations, how-to videos, and mindfulness tactics for everyday life. So Lyra Essentials is a really great, again, self-guided tool that anyone can use to on a daily basis. But again, if you wanted to take this journey, we're going to kind of peel back like the layers of the onion. We're going to take one more layer off. And if you say, that's great, I still want to work on my own, but I need just a little bit more help, the guided self-care could be the right fit for you. This is where you're going to meet with our Lyra coaches for the first session. This is via a live video session to walk through your needs. They're going to ask questions and figure out what it is that you're really looking for, and they'll design a personalized 6-week digital care plan. So again, you're going to be working on your own, but it is guided, and you're going to have these exercises. I mentioned the evidence-based therapy that they focus on skills and tools to help you practice. This is exactly what we're doing here. So you're going to have these things that you're going to work on throughout the week, throughout those 6 weeks. And if you want, at the end of the 6-week care journey, you can go back and talk to your Lyra coach again to check in to see how things are going. Let's peel back one more layer. Let's say you want a little bit more assistance than that. You can go to our Lyra Coaching program and you can still work with the same coach, but instead of having it be more self-guided where you only meet with a coach once, this is where you'd meet with a coach on a weekly basis. So again, you can do this live. You can have those face-to-face live video chats. You can also do like what you can see here. Oops, sorry. You can see here on the screen where you can video or you can message with your coach throughout the week as well. And then we have what you would consider probably more of your traditional therapy. Again, our therapy is more evidence-based, so it may be different than the kind of therapy that you're used to. We're really meant to help people feel better faster. This is like the perfect example of if, let's say, if you wanted to find care for your child, so anyone from ages 2 plus, it's in Lyra therapy. That's where you would have counseling as couples, or if you wanted to have your whole family go to counseling, that would all happen more in this therapy bucket. So you might be thinking, well, gosh, what's the difference between coaching and therapy? So just a quick little overview here. Really, coaching is best suited if you've got mild to moderate symptoms. These are ICF accredited mental health coaches. Again, everybody, whether it's the coaches or the therapists, everybody practices that evidence-based coaching. So you're going to get that same experience across the board. But these are weekly sessions, live video or live messaging. And they've got, like I said, the practice and the skills in between. Therapy, on the other hand, is a little bit more geared towards those who have moderate or severe challenges. This is where you're going to be working with a provider who has like a master's or PhD. And this is where you can also look to meet in person with a therapist as well, in addition to also whether you want to do the live sessions too. So I am going to do another pause here to see if there are any questions. I've got the chat open. I think we've answered any chat questions, but again, feel free to either come off mute, find that chat feature, and we'll go ahead and pause here for some questions on the different therapy programs. Okay, feel free to ask questions in the chat. We'll move on to the next slide. A couple other programs that we do have available. So within the Lyra network, there are some things that, again, we've talked about. You can have coaching, you can have therapy, but I think it's very clear and important to make sure that we are clear on there are some things that we don't provide in the sense of like we don't have inpatient rehab facilities. However, we can absolutely help you find the care that you need for something like that. So we can help support you as you're looking for an inpatient rehab facility. We can help support you if that's the care that you need, or maybe you're getting the care for someone you love. So we can help support you through that process. Likewise, there are other services that we can help provide and find care for you to make sure that it's in your network. And so we can make sure that we're finding the care that you need, again, in network and looking for things. But again, these are just a list of the things that we don't provide services for, but we'll help assist you with. Now, I will say there are a number of things in life that come up that will impact your mental health. So if you've ever had an aging parent that you are to care for, you know that that can be extremely stressful. So we have a couple of services to help support like the whole person approach. So we've got legal services, financial services, dependent care, and identity theft. So they're all fairly self-explanatory, but one thing I'll just highlight here is the dependent care. Like I mentioned, if you have an aging parent, we can help provide, find referrals for you for resources to help support. If you need to find childcare, or if you're going out of town on vacation, you need to find pet care. These are things that we can do for you in this dependent care services. With things like the legal, financial, and identity theft, this is really nice because not only will we have tools and resources to support you, but you can also speak with someone with a free consultation to get the information that you need on that subject matter. And then, for example, if you want to continue to work with that attorney, if you will, for like the legal services, we'll provide the information for you about what that looks like at a discounted rate going forward. So how you would access that, again, go back to the home base page. Under other resources, this link down here, you'll see this WorkLife Services. This is where you're going to access all the information that you need, whether it's legal, financial identity theft, or dependent care. And I think the last thing I'm going to close with, and then we'll open it up to full questions, whether on the full spectrum here. The last thing I'll leave you with here is a comment from one of our Lyra members. And this is really something that is powerful, and we hope that you experience within your care journey as well. They said, I sought mental health care, health services multiple times over the last 5 years. It was never able to meet with a qualified provider. It was always draining, exhausting, asking for help with no success. Lyra made it simple, easy, and lowered the barriers to getting services timely. And again, that's our goal. That's what we want you to experience here as well. So I will leave this slide up while we're asking questions. So you can write down the website, the phone number, or the email address, so that way you can get started today. I would encourage you all, as kind of like your action item from today's session, go online, create an account, see what it's like to get started. Maybe again, you're going to just utilize the Lyra Essentials and take a look at those tools, or maybe you want to get started with therapy. This is a great place to start. So I will pause and we'll go through some questions that come up. Again, feel free to find the chat feature or come off of mute. And Chris just mentioned in the chat, if you don't have that open, the Benefit Fund Office will post the presentation and the recorded session on the website on Monday if you want to review it again on your own. So that's carpenterbenefits.org. Thank you, Chris. I'll add a question here, because I did a Lyra, one of these presentations for another group yesterday, and a question that comes up is about confidentiality. So let's talk about it. Lyra feels very strongly about participant confidentiality. It is very important to us that you see everything is very separate with your mental health care support and your employer. So everything is very separate. Any of the data that does get funneled back to the Benefit Fund Office is going to be an aggregate form. So what that means is we're going to give them information like 85% of the people who were in care saw symptom reduction. It's never going to go back and say, well, Joe Smith was talking about this subject. That's a breach of confidentiality. That is something that we feel very strongly that, again, we want to make very clear that the information that you're discussing with your therapist is confidential and held between you and the therapist session. And again, happy to answer questions, whether it's based on who can access care, if you need clarity on who's eligible, different programs, how to get started. Or maybe everybody's just ready to jump on and go online and get registered. Well, I certainly want to give you some time back. I know we scheduled this for 45 minutes, but happy to wrap up early. I'm happy to stay online for a few extra minutes. So if anybody has questions, or if your question, maybe if you feel like it's private, there's always a direct message. So if you want to just message to me or to Nate personally, you can certainly do that. But otherwise, if you feel like you've got all the information you need, you're welcome to go and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you so much for your time today, everybody.